Hey guys, it's Mark McMahon. How you doing today? Happy Monday, my favorite day of the week, as I always tell you. Hey, question, is your house an asset? A lot of people ask that question, and the answer is really kind of elusive. It depends on how you look at your house. And it depends on your house, and it depends on where you live, and it depends on what you're going to do with it later on down the road. Most people live in a house, I guess the average in the United States is 7 years. If you're going to keep moving up from house to house and going from leapfrogging from a 3-bedroom, 2-bath to a 4-bedroom, 3-bath to a 6-bedroom, 5-bath, and perpetually put yourself in more and more and more and more and more and more debt, I think a house is not an asset. So that is my conclusion. I've lived in the same house for 16 years. The debt is very low and the payment is very reasonable, and it's in a decent neighborhood, and I'm pretty happy there. So most of my income gets rolled back into rental properties, and there you go. That's how we play the game. Not everybody does, though. Not everybody does. And I'm not disagreeing with buying a house. I'm not agreeing, I'm not disagreeing. I'm going to be neutral on this, but let me explain why that is. So when you buy a house in, let's say, Southern California, and you buy it, if you get in on it at a decent price at a decent time, it doesn't even matter the timing, really. 10 years down the road, it doesn't really matter. Because we have a high appreciating market here, your house can be an asset. Not an asset necessarily while you're living in it, because it produces no income, right? So that's one of the things that you have to keep in mind, is your house is not producing income. However, if you get your mortgage down to where it's low enough to where it's sub-rent, and your property taxes and your repairs and all the other things that go along with the wonderful homeownership thing, if all those are lower than rent, which is going to be pretty hard to believe, but if they are, in a perfect world, then yeah, your house is kind of an asset at that point, because it's not costing you any more than it would to rent. If you own a lot of income properties, and those income properties are paying the payment on your house, does that make it an asset? Probably not necessarily, because you could be taking that income and putting it into more properties, right? So you could conceivably, if you're living in a 4-bedroom, 3-bath house, you could be conceivably living in a 2-bedroom, 1-bath apartment and paying about a fourth of what you would be paying for the house, and take that extra money and put it in another property, right? Technically. I mean, conceivably you could. But is that what you really want to do? So I heard someone today talking about this, and it's funny because I had planned on talking about it because it actually came up in a meeting on Saturday. And his take on it, Thatch. Anyway, his take on it was, enjoy life, guys. Enjoy life a little bit. Don't spend your entire life being so frugal that you never have a good time. Yeah, but on the other hand, don't live beyond your means. That's my advice. His advice was live a little if you can afford it. My advice is don't live beyond your means. So we're both kind of saying the same thing a different way. My problem with homeownership is people buy more than they can afford usually. I'm okay if you can buy a little bit more than you can afford on an asset that's throwing off income. Okay, so if you're making a low cash flow, but the rents are going to go up and you're going to appreciate, I can live with that. I'm not comfortable with it myself, but I can live with it. But if you're struggling to make a house payment so you can look real cool, then it's not such a good idea. Real cool doesn't usually equate to dollars in your bank account. It usually equates to dollars out of your bank account. The Gucci belt versus I hate to say it, but the belt I have on right now, and it's not that I'm that frugal, it's just damned comfortable. I got it out of a repo house about 10 years ago when I was repoing houses for the bank. And I still wear it every day on my casual days, which pretty much every day is a casual day for me. I think we can all agree with that, with my white t-shirts, flannel shirts, and jeans. But I wear that because it's comfortable. I can really afford to buy whatever kind of belt I want at this point. I can buy a Gucci belt just doesn't mean anything to me. So I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to spend my money that way. But do I think a Gucci belt's a good idea? Not so much. So anyway, back to, is a house an asset? I digressed, I'm sorry. Is a house an asset? It can be. It can be, guys. A lot of people have no ability to save money. I think we can all agree on that. Can everybody say amen to that? Some people just have no ability to save money. If that's the case, and you retire and you're 65 years old and now all of a sudden your house is worth $300,000 and it's paid for, baby, that's an asset. Because you can take that house, you can sell it and rent a little apartment somewhere and enjoy yourself a little bit. Maybe you can invest that money. I don't know, you get a 6 or 7% return in the stock market. What is that? 6 times 1, 6. Come on, guys, work with me here. That and your Social Security, man, you might be okay. Maybe you can take a chunk out and go on a world vacation or go to Hawaii. I don't know. But anyway, at that point, it becomes sort of an asset, but not really. It's kind of cloudy. Thing is you have $300,000 that you wouldn't have been able to save up otherwise. And you can go live with your kids. Yeah, they deserve it. Look what they did to you. And you can also rent a much cheaper place to live. You can move to a cheaper place to live. You can go from Orange County, California to Henderson, Nevada, or Tuscaloosa, Alabama, and be neighbors with Rick. You can do all these things with that $300,000 and still have lots of money to spare. So in that case, I see it asset-y, asset-ish, however you want to say it. So if that's the case, then it works for me. But if you're just trying to keep up, if you want to have a house just for the sake of a house, it's not such a good idea, unless you can afford it. If you can afford it, then go for it. If you can afford a Porsche, do it. You know, is it getting in the way of investing? And have you met all your investment goals? Then do whatever you want. Who cares? It's your money. Do you want to wait till you're dead so your kids can spend it? That's fine too. But, you know, if you've met your investment goals, then fine, buy the house, buy the Porsche, buy the Gucci belt. That's cool. But while you're on your journey, be careful how you spend your money, because what you need to do is concentrate on producing income-based assets. Okay? And if you're buying a really expensive house just to sort of keep up with everybody and buying a really expensive car to keep up with everybody, you're not going to get there. You're not going to get there. The idea behind all this whole thing is, as you make more money, you spend the same amount until you get where you want, till you get to that level where, hey, you know, I want $100,000 a year coming in from all my assets, and then I want to bear a cushion. Okay, once you get there, it's cool. Spend all you want. But until you get there, be careful. You'll get there quicker. All right, guys, have a good day.